Hi, my name is Shiva Prakash, and today I'll be explaining how to take a manual blood pressure measurement using a sphygomammometer. So before we start, I would like to just show some things that you should be doing with your meter, and then I'll be demonstrating with myself as the patient. Okay, so here is my makedo sphygomammometer, as you can see. So here we have the pump, okay, and here is the meter. So what you should first do is you should take the cuff out here. Okay, so once you've taken the cuff out, make sure that the meter is first on. So once you've turned it on, then only when you press the pump, the cuff will actually inflate. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is with this cuff. So what you're going to do is make sure that the cuff is fully deflated. So by pressing and removing all the air out. Okay, so that is the two things that you should be doing with the meter first before your patient comes in. Once your patient comes in, make sure the patient is sitting comfortably in the chair. Make sure the patient is not anxious, and make sure she is at rest. Then make sure that the patient does not talk while you're doing the measurement, because that might cause some derangement in the values. And last but not least, you want to make sure when you're taking the patient's measurement for the pressure, make sure the hand is at the level of the heart. Okay, so like here, I'm sitting here with my shorts, and here's my hand. Okay, so the next thing that you should be doing is putting the cuffs. So once you have put the cuff on the patient, make sure that these two arrows point towards the anterior cubital fossa right here. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take the patient's radial pulse. So that will be done by so the next thing you want to do is take the patient's radial pulse. So once you've located the radial pulse, you're going to press the pump until you cannot feel the pulse anymore. So usually this will be around 100, 120 millimeter mercury. So you're going to slowly press. At the same time, you're going to be palpating radial pulse, and you can see here, you're going to inflate until you cannot feel the pulse anymore. Okay, so that's step 1. Okay, so for step 2, once you cannot feel the pulse anymore, make sure that you deflate back. Okay, deflate back the mercury level so that the patient doesn't feel much pain. Okay, so now we move on to step 3, which is where we actually use a stethoscope. So now you're going to take your stethoscope and you're going to put it at the region here in the anterior cubital fossa, and you're going to listen to the pulse. Okay, so once you've listened to the pulse already, remember just now we inflated until we couldn't feel the radial pulse anymore. You are going to want to pump the sphygomammometer about 10 to 20 level above the value that you got just now. So for example, just now at 100, I could not feel the pulse anymore. So now I'm pressing it until about 130 maybe. So at 130, what you're supposed to hear actually is you wouldn't hear anything anymore. Initially you would hear the pulse, but then after that you wouldn't hear the pulse anymore. So that is step 3. Okay, so for the last step, with the stethoscope still placed here, what you're going to want to do is you will slowly deflate the cuff, slowly, until you can hear the first sound. So from 130, you see here, from 130 you're going to deflate until you hear the first sound. That sound will be your systolic blood pressure. And then you're going to be keep on listening to the sound, and when you stop hearing the sound, that will be your diastolic blood pressure. So usually the systolic blood pressure will be around 120, and the diastolic blood pressure will be around 80 millimeter mercury. So usually in a clinical setting, we would like to take the blood pressure at least twice. And once you are done taking the blood pressure, make sure you take off the cuff and make sure you thank the patient after taking the blood pressure. So I think that's about it. Thank you. Good night.